Welcome to Giants Nation. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, the Football Grump, and we've got a Thursday night football game, Philadelphia Eagles at New York Giants. We're going to preview it a little bit. I do want to talk, because it's a short week, more about the Giants situation than giving you this full detailed breakdown on the Eagles, even though you're going to get some of that. But Grump, it's good to have a quick turnaround on this week, but also this could turn into a very long 10 days. You know, the Saints loss feels worse than any other because that was the one game on the schedule. Like, we could talk about Spencer Rattler being better than what people expected or whatever, but like, they're a bad team. They were a bad offense and a bad defense. And now we face the Super Bowl champs on a short week, and that can make for a long 10-day break.
What's going on, Bobby? Mixed feelings on the short week thing. You don't get to do the mailbag thing. You don't really get to reflect enough on the week before, although in this instance, I don't know how much reflecting we really want to do. It's another day. Like, after a loss like that, how much are you looking forward to playing a division rival on Thursday? How different this would be if they had beaten Dallas and if they had beaten the Saints coming in here at 3-2 or 3-1 or whatever we'd be. How different I would feel about it. But then, the plus side always with the Thursday game is you get to chill on Sunday and just watch football, which is pretty awesome.
That is the biggest plus of this. It's like, all right, Sunday is not going to be, hopefully not full of dread.
Not taking tons of notes either. Like, you can just kind of relax for like
you just get like a little mini bye week in there. I'm like, not to get too, we're going to get into the preview here for a second, but you guys know I'm a racing fan. Like, they get the first NASCAR game in like 4 years, comes out Friday. I'm like, cool, I can actually play that next week, where I would not have been able to do that without Thursday night football. So let's get into this preview, and I want to talk about the Giants wide receiver position and give some of our final thoughts, because I'm kind of going to retire talking about the lack of additions, but I do want to talk about like how the Giants attack with what they've got. But before we get into that, this episode was brought to you by some special people. Oh, there we go. Some special people. We got Paul Rinaldi. Isn't there an announcer named Rinaldi? Or maybe it's Ronaldinho, the best soccer player ever. Not really, but I love playing with him on FIFA 10. We got Don Scametti. The start of the name is Scheme. He's a scheme guy. Donnie. Gerald Van Sluten. Not Van Roten. He's Van Sluten. Van Sluten. Vulcan Kara, which I'm pretty sure is a Star Trek thing. We just got Tim, which, did you see Tim in Florida called into Good Morning Football, and he was a Cowboys fan? I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
We got Gavin Slate. He's given this regime a fresh new slate. It's year one. Haha. No, it's not. Rafe Khan. He played with Sasha Khan, great basketball player, retired champion. Eric Chow. Jack Gorman. He loves salt. McSmooth. Why did it have to be McSmooth? Bryce Mill. He works the mills. Eli Wolkenstein. He's Eli Manning's fan. Riley Greenwald. Not DeWalt. Greenwald. And then Christian Medley. Grump. Who are these special people?
These special people went to patreon.com/Giants Nation, where they signed up for one of two tiers so that they could receive stickers in the mail from you, Bobby Skinner. They could enter into a monthly free t-shirt raffle, and then they also get access to hang out with us during live recordings of these podcast episodes, and also get weekly game tape breakdowns that you do on Patreon.
Yeah, so make sure to like and subscribe to the episode too, so people watch it, because we are kind of doing the dumb thing where it's like, all right, this is always going to be a less viewed preview pod because it's Thursday night football, but we're also going live at the Yankees game during the Yankees game right now, which Cam Schittler gave up a run. That I don't like that. So let's get into it. The Giants were going to be without Darius Slayton. Let me remove this Patreon thing. Just go do it. The Giants are going to be without Darius Slayton. They do get Tyrone Tracy back, which I do think helps with losing Darius Slayton a little bit. But I want to talk about a big picture, and I kind of want to do it for the last time because I'm tired of talking about it unless they make an addition. I just can't believe they haven't brought in anyone at wide receiver. And I'm not even going to say the name that I've said a million times over and over again, but somebody more competent than what they have in Jalen Hyatt and Bo Collins. We even talked about it in our South of the Border mailbag before the season started, that it was very weird. And we were talking. The question was like if Malik Neighbors goes down, but the points we made in that podcast were even if Darius Slayton goes down, like I think this is an issue for them. So I just can't believe when Malik Neighbors went down, they're just like, we're just rolling with that. Like, we're gonna do 2 tight end sets. But like how it didn't make sense before the season. And right now it makes you feel insane that they haven't done it because it's so obvious. You gotta go find somebody off of a practice squad or whatever, free agent. Like, you gotta make some type of effort at this. In reality, I think their best effort's going to be Lil Jordan Humphrey if they elevate him from the practice squad. But they've also signaled to us they think Jalen Hyatt and Bo Collins are better players because they have them on the roster and not Lil Jordan Humphrey.
It's very strange. It was definitely a weak spot going into the season. We highlighted it. You look at the depth, and I can sit here and tell you that Bo Collins was the best undrafted free agent that they brought in, and I'm happy for him that he makes a roster spot, whatever. But I mean, that is more indicative of what's missing than what he has. You know what I mean? It's not like he came in and had this like light him up preseason where it was like, oh, done. Bo Collins on the roster. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really what happened. You get like a moonball from Russell Wilson, and that's kind of it.
Well, even then, like, that doesn't mean that type of story shouldn't mean, hey, you're the starter.
Oh, God,
if one guy gets injured, like that was like the Bo Collins story. In a correct world would be, hey, this is a guy who plays 8 snaps per game because he can actually block. He's bigger size. Maybe you give him a red zone thing. His route running could be a little crisp, even though it was just terrible once he got put in front of the bright lights in New Orleans where it just like went to shit. Like, that wasn't the role. The role should have never – nobody – I will not say nobody. But me and you didn't come out of training camp being like, well, now he should be wide receiver 4 on this team. We're like, hey, it's a cool story that he made the roster, but at least year 1, he should not be someone who's actually getting more than a handful of snaps in the game.
Not at all. No, this would be almost like a red shirt year for him. You know what I mean? Like, you want him to be adjusting to the game. Yeah. So, I mean, but then the other thing that's really kind of perplexing is that, like, that you have the Eagles on a short week. And it's almost as if they viewed this as like, well, we have back-to-back games. We might as well wait for the week and a half that we get because of the Thursday game to bring somebody in. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, like, maybe no, it doesn't make sense to me at all, because
you should have had that guy in here learning the playbook if that was the case.
You should have had that guy in here knowing that he may not be able to contribute against New Orleans. Like, to me, you bring in somebody, we'll go ahead and say the name that you were thinking, right? Odell Beckham Jr.
I was actually thinking Isaiah Hodgins.
I know, I was kidding.
Odell Beckham Jr. is a steroid user.
Yeah, I heard.
It broke my heart. I loved him. I always thought he never did anything wrong, and then he did steroids.
Yeah, what a breaking character for him.
Actually, you know what? It wasn't his fault. He didn't knowingly take anything. He must have been drugged with steroids, rehabbing from an injury.
That's really the plane incident, right?
It's not his fault. Like, yeah, just like the plane incident. Definitely, he was definitely not a total asshole in that situation. It was the reception.
I heard Lil Wayne gave it to him, but that's but seriously, so I don't even remember the point. Oh yeah. So in my opinion, you bring that guy in as soon as Malik Neighbors gets hurt. You do your workouts. You gather the 5 guys that you can. You do a workout. You pick the one guy that you're going to sign, knowing that he's probably not going to contribute against the Saints, right? You elevate Lil Jordan Humphrey for that game against the Saints, and then you really make your evaluation kind of for this game. Like, is it Lil Jordan Humphrey again that's going to have to play in the wide receiver role against the Eagles? Or is this guy that you brought in kind of along the line? Is that it? And if not, then you have this guy along the line. You have a whole week and a half to get him ready for week 7. You know what I'm saying? So there's an adjustment period there, because it's not like Malik Neighbors is coming back. This roster spot, he's on IR. It's done. You need a wide receiver. So I don't understand what they're waiting for. I don't get it. I don't really want to get. I'm like getting angry now, and it's warm in here, and I've got a shirt on.
And it's not even to say, if we get one of these guys a wide receiver, room is good. It's just you can just run 11 personnel. Like, that was, again, going back to 2022, where it's like, and the 2022, and we're going to talk about like the 2 tight ends and under center. They were good at that, right? They were really good at using 2 tight ends, running the ball out of under center, play action, right? Dart, for one game of doing that, doesn't look as comfortable running that under center play action. Number one, he hasn't done very much of it in his career or at all.
He's not really been under center very much in his career.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The run game is not really built for that. The tight ends are a fine duo for a 12 personnel. But like I'm saying, like they were more built for that. And even that got caught up to, right? That got caught up to in that year. And that's why Isaiah Hodgins was so important, because it allowed them to not have David Sills or Marcus Johnson when they were running 3 wide receivers, right? That made such a huge difference where it's like, this guy's competent out here and can get you 40 to 50 yards in a game or be a red zone threat. He's a smart player. He knows where to be at the right place at the right time. He gets off press. He's got sure hands. That's all I was asking for. I'm not asking for, go out and, I'm not sitting here like, why didn't they go out and get George Pickens or DK Metcalf or sign Stephon Diggs? I was talking about just shoring up the bottom of the room. But let's talk about this game, how that goes. I know Lil Jordan Humphrey is going to get activated because Slayton is now injured. We don't know what would have happened if Slayton was healthy, but I'm not 100% sure that's who's going to play. Anyways, because they do have Hyatt and Bo Collins ahead of him technically on the depth chart, because Lil Jordan Humphrey is technically not even on the depth chart. Even though Humphrey is a much more accomplished player than both of them. Much more for a guy with 700 yards in seven years. But they're going to do 2 tight end sets, right? They showed us that last week, and they started out fairly well doing it. But if they want to live at a 2 tight end sets, Grump, it's so important that they start this game hot. The same way that they have in the first 2 Jackson Dart games. They've scored touchdowns on both Jackson Dart opening drives of his first 2 games. Outside of that, they have 1 touchdown drive that was greater than 3 yards in those 2 games. And that was the second drive of the Saints game using that 2 tight end stuff. So they got to start out hot, because if they get behind, that stuff's not going to work a ton. Plus, here's the thing is the 2 tight end stuff. You got to start getting under center a little more and establish some sort of run game, or at least show it under center. It can't even be pin and pull, right? It's not asking your guys to go and handle Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, right? You can get out on the edges and allow to get Tyrone Tracy or Cam Scattaboo in place. Because if you're doing the 2 tight end under center stuff, people aren't going to they're not going to respect your play action game out of it. You have to at least show that you're going to run the ball out of it. You saw it against the Saints. Their linebackers, Jackson Dart was literally turned around to fake the play action, and their linebackers are already bailing out. They just don't respect it. And Staley obviously comes from a similar Staley from the Saints last week comes from the Vic Fangio tree. So but also, Grump, in order to run the ball from under center, you got to be either in command or in a close game. So it's a no shit Sherlock take, but the Giants have to do what they've done the last 2 games and start out hot, because if this game goes 13-0 or 14-0 or 10-0 early, it's hard for them to get back in it, because Hyatt and Bo Collins on the outside makes it so hard to have a passing game. It just really does. I don't think Jackson Dart has the worst scenario in the world. He's got a tackle duo that protects him. But having those guys on the outside, it's really not fair to the young quarterback to put him in that situation against a Vic Fangio defense.
Yeah, and I think what stinks here is that this defense is playing so well for the Eagles. They have such good safeties. The big play, I just don't think is going to be there unless there's a colossal breakdown. You know what I mean? The flea flicker that they ran in New Orleans, which could have worked. A better throw. Jackson Dart's got to get a little bit more consistent with his eyes and with his footwork. I don't think that he played a bad game last week in terms of being a rookie in his second game ever. Did a lot of good things. Did some things he could have cleaned up. You know what I mean? And I think he is swimming a little bit above his head right now. But be that as it may, that's the challenge, right? I don't think that they're just going to have 1 or 2 big plays that they can just draw up. This is a disciplined defense. They have really good safeties. And this is a very smart defensive coordinator. They're going to have to figure something else out. And it's going to have to be a varied approach, I think. It's nice that Tyrone Tracy should be back for this game. I really think he's the one in the 1-2 punch of him and Cam Scattaboo. I think that he's got some advanced vision, and he's got the burst to kind of, being at where I sit at MetLife, a lot of time it's just off center, but you get a really good glimpse of how wide open those holes get and how quickly they close. And Scattaboo doesn't really have the burst to get through there. And I don't think he has the the eyesight recognition to get to it fast enough. Whereas Tyrone Tracy, you can see it, and I've seen it. You can see him hit that hole a lot faster. The problem is, I don't really think that Tyrone Tracy's. I don't know how much of a role he's going to have in his first game back. That's a pretty rough shoulder injury, and it's a running back. Like he's going to get banged around kind of a lot.
If he's healthy, then I think he's a huge part of the Giants having somewhat of a chance in this game, because like I think for them, like they can't run 11 personnel, which means they're gonna have to run the ball a little bit to set up some of the stuff they want to do running 2 tight ends. And they're also not going to go up there and just, hey, we're going to run duo and inside zone. They're not going to win that way. Like they're not going to find success running the ball that way against the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to have to get creative. Like I said it on Twitter. I think they should run some wing T 2 running back stuff. When we've even seen the Giants do that a little bit with Tommy DeVito in that Commanders game. Like, remember that first game of Tommy DeVito? And we always remember, like, oh, Tommy DeVito won those games. The first quarter of that game, they had -5 passing yards and 120 rushing yards. Like they knew what they were dealing with. And like I will always say, is not here to defend this coaching staff. The one thing they have done well is realize this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're not. We need to scheme with what we have. And so I think you're going to see a lot of misdirection. You've got to use Daniel Bellinger a lot, right? Not just in line at tight end, at fullback, moving him around. Like you've got to throw a lot at them because we're just not talented or good enough to go out there and think you're just going to run the ball on the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think you're going to see a lot of misdirection and stuff. So, and again, this is like, I'm talking about doing all this stuff just to make yourself functional. Like, don't be a total embarrassment, because if you just kind of run your game, that's what's going to happen against this Eagles team. And honestly, for Dart,
it's very uplifting, Bobby.
It reminds me of the 2019 Thursday Night Football game against the Patriots. You remember that one where it was Daniel Jones coming off his first loss to the Vikings, and Saquon got injured, in the Bucs game. Wayne Gallman got injured in the Vikings game. Evan Ingram got injured. Sterling Shepard got a concussion. And we didn't know what Darius Slayton was at the time, but it was Darius Slayton. It was Golden Tate's first game back from the suspension. John Hilleman was at running back. Red Ellison was the starting tight end. Like that was he didn't have Andrew Thomas. He had Nate Solder at left tackle and Mike Remmers at right tackle. But it kind of reminds me of that. It's a worse wide receiver situation for Dart, but it's a better, like, at least you don't have John Hilleman at running back and you have Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor. Like I will always say that game, John Hilleman is the worst running back to ever start for the New York Giants in my life.
Was that the game where Golden Tate had the touchdown pass?
The slot fade.
It
was a beauty of a pass.
If anyone's familiar with Jeremy Schneider, he's like a food critic for NewJersey.com or whatever. I got into like a small Twitter thing with him about it because he was like, I don't know, over Golden Tate being the guy that they signed or whatever. And I was like, stick to food or whatever.
He's a douche. I know that guy.
Oh shit. Okay, I was gonna say I think he's kind of nice, but all right.
Maybe I don't know him well. But yeah, that was where Tate walked backwards into the end zone. That was that touchdown, because I was very like, let's go. We got rookie Daniel Jones. That was the year the Patriots defense was so good, where Daniel Jones was the only quarterback to throw a touchdown against the Patriots for like 8 weeks. And I was like, yeah. Has your quarterback thrown a touchdown against the Patriots? I don't
look
think
at him now.
Yeah, we're back, baby. So last thing I want to talk about on the Giants offense, unless you got something, Jalen Carter is questionable. If he doesn't play, that's a huge difference, because the one thing Jackson Dart has not seen is reality is a pass rush that can get after it. And Jalen Carter makes a huge difference if the Eagles are getting after it, and especially on the interior where the Giants are weaker, right? I'm not worried about the edges with Thomas and Illuminor, but we know that the interior guys, they haven't faced those types of guys. And even Brian Brzee was, getting wins on John Runyon and Greg Van Roten last week. And it led to like negative Dart plays at 100% hit rate. And Dart's at his best when he can move up through the pocket. When he's rolling out of the back of the pocket, he's not the same, he's not the same playmaker as he is moving up through the pocket. But also for the run game, it's not just, Dart with interior pressure. The Giants' run game has been much better the last 2 weeks. In fact, it's would rank third in the NFL in yards per game. Obviously, Dart has a huge part of that. I'm worried that with Carter and Davis, it goes back to what it looked like the first 2 weeks of the season, where it was just totally useless.
Yeah, I watching through the Denver game, it didn't really feel like the interior of that Philadelphia defensive line was as impactful as you'd have expected them to be. At the same time, I don't really trust the Giants' interior offensive line to do very well. So I would think that they attack the edges. I think that you can kind of get after it in terms of, and I feel like I'm just going to keep saying this every week until it's actually done. Getting the running backs out on the edges, throwing screen passes out there, and not just to like Wan'Dale Robinson. Like Keely Ringo is not a very good corner, and he's only playing because Adoree Jackson is a worse corner, or is playing a lot worse earlier in the year. And he's specifically like not a very good tackler. So getting Cam Scatterboot into that situation is really something that I think that they can exploit. I think that if you're going to be running up to the middle, it's going to have to take somebody with Tyrone Tracy's vision ability to get anything, because I kind of felt like that's where Denver was getting their wins, was just kind of being patient, waiting for defensive tackles to either overcommit or just a hole to open and then blasting through it. And they're going to have to be patient. I think they're going to have to work the outside to get the inside in. So if they're going to do the zone read thing too, also, I think that they can probably get the edges to bite, but Jackson's going to have to read it really, really well and, see if the edges are as disciplined as they're supposed to be. Jalix Hunt is somebody who's been a little bit under scrutiny by Philly fans. Am I saying that name right? I don't think I am.
I think it's Jalix. I don't know.
Jalix, whatever. Yeah, I mean, like he's on a learning curve. You know what I mean? He didn't come from a big football program, so he's not been as exciting as I think Eagles fans had hoped. And that could be somebody that they can just kind of get either standing in cement or overcommitting on his own read and running around the edge. But we'll see. I think they're gonna have to do the edges first to work their way in, not the other way around.
Yeah, I just think you got to with that, you got to throw a lot at them, right? You can't just try and run what you run in this game. A lot of play action to get guys moving different ways, RPOing off of that stuff. Like you got to throw a lot at them. Let's talk about the Giants defense versus the Eagles offense. So the Eagles offense is 12th in points per game, is 17th in EPA per play. But yardage wise, they're 31st in passing and they're 25th in rushing. But they are great in their red zone, 92%, which is first in the NFL. The reality is there's a whole identity crisis happening with the Eagles right now, and that doesn't make me feel great about this game or like, oh, the Giants have a chance. But like, it is kind of crazy what's happening with them right now, where A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are not happy with their roles. Smitty is 31st in receiving yards this year. A.J. Brown is 62nd. Like, this was a guy who was on pace for 2,000 yards like a year ago. Saquon has the 4th most rushing attempts in the NFL, but he's 22nd in rushing yards. He's 39th of 44 in success rate. It feels like he's back on the Giants. And then Landon Dickerson is out, and their other guard, that replaced Mekhi Becton, Tyler Steen, has been average to below average. It is an Eagles offense that is in an identity crisis and not figuring it out. Kevin Stefanski. It seems like Nick Sirianni needs to stop hiring offensive coordinators from within when other offensive coordinators get head coaching jobs. But at the end of the day, I just think they're going to be able to run the ball on us, and we play a lot of man coverage, and our guys are going to win. Their guys are going to beat our guys against man coverage.
Yeah, it's a little odd to see the Eagles offense like this. But they're still better than us. What's really interesting to me is how average Saquon Barkley is. I was really shocked going into this to see that he has roughly the same amount of receptions as Cam Scatterboot, and he has 20 more carries than Cam Scatterboot. But in terms of all-purpose yards, only 12 more yards than Scatterboot. So that's how average Saquon Barkley appears to be playing. And he got a little banged up last week too, so he started being used a little bit sparingly. But then he also had like a wheel route that went for like 50 yards or something like that for a touchdown. In terms of the Eagles offense being in disarray, the one thing that they're not doing though really is like turning the ball. Like Jalen Hurts specifically is not really turning the ball over. So he's being smart with the football. However unproductive they might be, it's not like this. I mean, I think the Giants turned the ball over more last week than they have all year. So it's not like they're a complete shit show. They're just not performing. It kind of just looks like a car that's stalling out. But all the pieces are right there, and this could easily be like a get well game for this Eagles.
And they're still 4-1. Like
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like
their like offense and identity crisis is 12th in scoring and number 1 in red zone percentage. Like that's what we're talking about here. If we were a team that was more competitive, it's like, hey, they're vulnerable, but I just hate to say that we're not in that same situation. Like I'm more looking at guys on an individual basis when I talk about like I'm looking at Abdul Carter, right? Like I think Abdul Carter's been awesome this year. They got 2, make Jordan Mailata out to cry again. Like I want Abdul Carter facing his old team, get Lane Johnson, right? And also, I want to say this too. We talked about Cam Jurgens. Dexter Lawrence kind of owned him last year, and he's okay, but he's not amazing, right? He gets a little overrated because he's on the Eagles O-line. Landon Dickerson, who's not overrated, is out for this game. Tyler Steen has not been that good. Can Dexter Lawrence destroy them up front? Right? If the Giants have any chance, that's it. Like, I know when seasons go bad, a lot of people blame their best players instead of the worst players. I remember hearing a quote from a GM and was saying like what bad teams do is they blame their best players for being bad, right? And we do that as fans too. When the season's not going bad, we don't point at the debt. We do, but like we get our good players get vitriol too, right? Because they get lumped in with the mess.
Saquon Barkley,
yeah, unless they're playing at an all-pro level. But go out and dominate a game, not just put together good film and have me saying, oh, he's the best player on the defense still. Like, go out and dominate a game. Like, Brett Toth, Cam Jurgens, and Tyler Steen should not be able to stop you even if they are double teaming you. Like, go out and wreak havoc on this Eagles offensive line. It still probably doesn't lead to a Giants victory, but go and just, like, screw shit up for them.
Yeah, so the couple things I want to talk about here. Number one, Tyler Steen. I'm hoping the NFL like picks up on this. I've noticed it for a while now. I feel like he's getting away with rocking around in his stance because he's kind of responsible for that like center hip tap, and he's like moving all over the place before the snap. I don't know why that's not being called.
It's a stupid Lane Johnson rule too, where all the O-line people are like, "Well, technically you can lean back," and that's like, no, it's a false start.
Actually,
the rule needs to be changed.
Yeah. So. But you're right. Like the interior there can be wins. Cam Jurgens has given up 4 pressures in the last 3 games. It's not staggering numbers, but this is your personnel advantage. This is what you should be winning that. Brett Toth is not that good. He's a good backup. I would love for him to be a depth guy on this team. Tyler Steen is he's just average. You know what I mean? These are not excellent players. And Jalen Hurts is, like I said, protecting the football. So he's not throwing things in when he's under pressure into dangerous situations. He's taking sacks and taking good sacks, I guess is what you can say. When all hell is breaking loose, he's protecting the football. One thing that I am worried about, though, is I don't really think that these Eagles receivers need to win anything. I don't think that Jalen Hurts needs to win anything because they are and Jalen Hurts is very good at this, is throwing the back shoulder to get the pass interference. And that's one of the reasons they're really good. Well, I mean, they're good at scoring because they're good in the red zone, but they can get in the red zone that easily just by going downfield. And we're a magnet for this. So I could see this happening 3 times in this game.
Well, and the simple fact too is like the Giants play man more than any team in the NFL actually. Like Shane Bowen has like this soft zone reputation, but that's more at the end of halves and games. But like the Giants play man on third down 66% of the time. Like, and they don't hide it, and their cornerbacks give up leverage easily. This is a really good wide receiver duo. And I know, again, they're ranked 31st and 62nd in receiving yards. Like, I don't think they're just going to feed Saquon Barkley a million times in this game. I think they're going to look to have an effective run game, and it may get out of hand, and then they, hand it off to A.J. Dillon. But, like, they're going to be able to get wins in the passing game and man coverage. And I do wonder if the Deontay Banks thing is done. I think there's been a lot of pressure on that, and they might finally fold and end that situation. But if he's out there, that's a total L for the Giants. It's just the Giants play man coverage. They don't hide it. Unless Shane Bowen totally changes it up this week and throws a curveball on a short week, Jalen Hurts doesn't need to be a great quarterback. Like, he's accurate for the most part. and he can get those guys the ball against man covers. We've seen it time and time again against the New York Giants in the past with Jalen Hurts, and I think you may see it again this week too.
Yeah, I'm specifically, I don't think they're going to just hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley a lot in this week. Like I said, he got drilled pretty early in that Denver Broncos game, and they kind of tapered off of him a little bit. But where I'm worried about him is like matching up against Darius Musow, matching up against Tyler Nubin in coverage, or Dane Belton. I think that's where Saquon's probably going to eat us alive, is on wheel routes or choice routes over the middle or something like that. And that's, where all the focus goes to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. And especially like, I know they're disgruntled, and I know there's like usually this narrative where like the Eagles are going to be mad. They just lost. Like, I don't think that shit really is real most of the time, but I think all it takes is like some early rhythm between AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts. If that starts happening early, like none of that stuff really matters. They're going to be feeling themselves just fine. And that's where like you start diverting all of your resources to the outside stuff. And that's when guys like Dallas Goedert are going to eat over the middle against a weak linebacker group. Saquon Barkley is going to have a mismatch pretty much against anybody that he lines up against as a receiver.
Yeah, the Eagles are just so talented that it's like, all right, the Giants can try and take this away, and the other stuff's there for the Eagles. So unless they just keep running into a wall, like it's gonna.
And I think that's what brings it back to the defensive line, like the pass rush. Like the only way this is really going to work is to jam stuff up in the middle and force Jalen Hurts to take sacks or throw the ball away, because I think that's what he is going to do rather than fumble or throw stupid picks.
Okay. Do you got anything else before we go to segments?
No, I think that's it.
That's not it, because if you're going to go to this game, you got to use SeatGeek. And I'm so excited to tell you that this episode is brought to you by SeatGeek. And I want to give them a huge shout out. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. The NFL season is around the corner. Around the corner. It feels like it just started, because it did, and it's here. And it's like, all right, let's go to a Giants game. MLB in the playoffs. We're currently watching Cam Schlittler, who is my favorite player in the Yankees. Unless he blows this today, he's throwing gas. He just threw a 99-mile-per-hour four-seam fastball. Our numbers are suffering because this is happening right now. But I'm excited. If I was in the New York area, I would have been at this game. Like I'm not missing a Cam Schlittler start. In fact, if the Yankees make the World Series, I do think I'm going to try and make it up for a Cam Schlittler start. Not a guarantee, but I'm going to try and do that, because I just would love to be there for that. So again, I love using SeatGeek, as you can see. SeatGeek has your back. Oh, I'm going to get tickets for Orlando Storm. I watched your UFL video.
I was going to ask you about that.
I'm kind of all in.
Have you been to that stadium before? It looks cool.
I haven't, which I need to go to a soccer Orlando City Lion game, which I guess I could use SeatGeek to get tickets to that. But so I'm going to be a huge Orlando Storm fan. We might have to do a show. I know you love the UFL, so I might have to throw you a bone, and we'll have to do some type of UFL
in the spring. Yeah. Or you mean like a meetup and like go to a game?
Yeah, and do a live show there. Maybe get the connect through SeatGeek. So SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you're getting a good deal. So look for the green dots. Green means good. Red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code Bobby2025 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code Bobby2025. Doesn't have to be your first time. Just add it right now, because it's going to be in there, and you're going to be like, oh, what was that code? Just put it in there right now so you have it for future events. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Basically just said that. Thank you, SeatGeek. You'll be glad you did.
You'll be glad you did.
All right. We now welcome on Danny King for weather and trivia. What's just give us the damn weather report, Danny King.
God damn, I just sat down. I would like.
Did you just look at the weather report too?
No, hello. How are we doing?
No, I'm ticked off
this week. I don't know why.
You got the weather wrong again.
Okay, like guess what? Life happens. Ooh, I just dropped my headphones because they're not working. But life happens. And you know what we do? We march on. And, I'm making a Danny guarantee this week. You know why I'm making a Danny guarantee? Why? You want to know why I'm making a Danny guarantee this week?
Why?
Because the game's tomorrow, and I'm predicting the weather the day before. It's a lot easier to do.
Have you changed your strategy?
You keep grinding. You
don't. You have to change. You can't keep. You have to change the models. Your models are failing. You have to change your models.
Well, if they fail after the Danny guarantee, because I'm making a Danny guarantee, then I'll make that change.
Well, 1 for 4 is still a horrible. So I want to say this too. We tried to create a grassroots movement of bringing Jim Cantori on the show, and I'm kind of pissed. Like, he definitely big timed us. Like, he had probably 100 mentions in the last 5 days about coming on Giants Nation show. And he just he replies to other people's tweets and he just ignored every single one. Isn't that kind of a little effed? Like, I don't know. Like, if I hope I never get too big to where people are clamoring for me to come on a show for 10 minutes and I just totally big time them, because I was so ready to have a weatherman intervention. So Westlock recommended some other people. So I might have to go with one of these YouTube weather guys. I've always been a Jim Cantori guy. Like, I've always been a fan of big weather, but I might have to go local.
Go small weather.
There's no hurricane going on, so it's who cares?
Seriously, there's no weather catastrophe going on right now. If there is, I apologize. But he should have some free time to come on our show for 10 minutes. Even
if there was, come on the show.
And I even said hey, I'm in Brevard County, which I know where he goes when he's here and stuff. It's just not right.
That sounded like a threat.
No, it just means he knows Brevard County. He could come on and tell a story about one time he was here in Hurricane Floyd or whatever, and this happened. And he just totally blew us off. It actually makes me mad. So what is the weather like for this week, though?
That was also great for me to settle in because I just got back from work. But like I said, Danny guarantee weather will be correct this week because it's going to be maybe not on the field. It won't be beautiful, but the weather you'll be sitting in will be beautiful. Perfectly clear skies. Perfectly clear. No chance of rain. No nothing. There's going to be some wind, but just under 5 miles per hour, but you might get a gust that might hit you every once in a while that you might be whoa, what was that? That's a wind tunnel out there in that MetLife parking lot. Grump, you tailgate, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I tried to play flip cup out there without we were in the middle of the parking lot the one time, not up on the curb. And I was literally flipping stuff and it was blowing off the table and they were relentless that I was terrible at flip cup. Playing,
yeah, you definitely
a tornado. I'm not good at it.
But yeah,
I mean, come on, there was some, inclement weather going on there.
But yeah, there'll be some gusts. But I mean, like I said, it's gonna be a beautiful night for football. It's supposed to be cold or chilly. I don't know what we consider cold and chilly. It's gonna be 54, but it's gonna get into the upper 40s.
That's chilly for up there. Cold down here.
It might dip into the low upper 40s by the end of the game, but it's gonna be 50, 55 degrees. So it's a crisp night for football. Crisp fall night.
What about humidity, Danny?
Oh, yeah, because we got people that got...
Yeah, you deserve the L on that. Not knowing that 80% humidity is crazy humid is crazy.
I don't give a crap, to be honest with you.
How? That's even worse. How do you not care?
Can we not joke around a little bit? Yes, I know the higher the humidity is, it gets muggy, all right? I'm aware of that, but I don't...
You did not know.
Oh, yeah, all right, yeah. Forgot. We were not allowed to joke on the show anymore. What Giants' record is messing with people. We can't have fun.
It's when I got caught setting my test that I failed on fire, and the teacher found a burnt piece of it with my name on it. I was like, that was a joke. It's not very funny. All right, what do we got for trivia this week? I'm sure there's a lot of great Giants Eagles trivia.
Yeah, there is. I feel like we probably hit all the more recent games.
Oh, that's another thing. Just copy what Jolly did last year, like you did last week with the Saints.
All right, guess what? I'm a busy working man out here these days, people. All right, I don't got time every week to sit down and listen. I'm a Giants Nation subscriber.
Do your job. Okay.
Giants Nation subscriber. But you know what? I guarantee he didn't go back. Because of all that talk this week, I decided, we're going to go back. December 11th, 2005.
Yankees home run.
Don't care. Giants won 26-23. It was actually a miss. They had a 3-game winning streak during that time. against the Eagles. They won in November 20th, 2005, December 11th, 2005, and then the first game in 2006 against the Eagles. But that's besides the point. December 11th, 2005, Giants won 26-23. Eli Manning had a touchdown and threw 3 interceptions, but they still won because that's what life was like back then. But can you name me who had the 1 receiving touchdown in that game? Uno receiving touchdown. And the 1 rushing touchdown in that game for the New York Giants. And I guess I'm also not allowed to say I got it from a box score since, that's how trivia facts are gathered. But I guess I'm not allowed to look.
I'm pretty sure Plax had the touchdown. And I'll just go Tiki with the rushing touchdown.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tiki with the rushing touchdown, and I was gonna go Vishanti Shanko.
And that's what we call a trip up there, folks. Tiki had the receiving touchdown that day.
You suck.
Tiki had the receiving touchdown that day with a 14-yard pass from Eli Manning. And the rushing touchdown?
Don't tell me it was Eli.
It was Eli Manning himself.
Oh, man.
He had a 1-yard touchdown run that day.
All right. Danny redeemed himself with that
Roles
trivia.
were reversed that week. Didn't get it from a box score. But, yeah. That was your trivia of the week. I wanted with the divisional teams, there's no point in doing like recent because I feel like y'all will track that very well.
I also don't want to remember anything recent.
That's also true. That is also true. Now, Bobby, I would love to hear this fantasy scoreboard real quick.
Yeah, let's get Danny back in the good graces of the listeners here. So let's get into our fantasy draft where we draft
bailed
players.
on the show. Oh,
no, I had to turn on the light.
We draft players from the Giants and their opponent. So Danny had a great week last week, 65 points. He is a half point behind. He was in 3rd place. He was a half point behind me for 1st place now. In fact, me and Danny are both on pace for a record scoring season. I think the injury to Malik Neighbors and Slayton and stuff is going to hurt that. I don't think that's going to happen this year, but we are both on pace for that. So Danny, after 65 points, is a half point behind me. Grump is 28.9, and this is why I'll always keep the overall scoring thing instead of doing it on a week-to-week basis. So Danny, you have the opportunity to take the lead, and you have the first pick. Who is that going to be?
Man, I slept long and hard about this one. No, I didn't. Saquon Barkley, just plain and simple. Another game at MetLife. It's just the Giants offense now, especially with Tracy coming back, supposedly coming back this week. I'm now extra confused of what the running back position is going to be for the Giants. Obviously, I know they're probably good, like they might be splitting and all that. Saquon's just a safe bet, especially with the drama we got going on in the Eagles receiving room because none of them are going to target it and they're all complaining about it now.
Yeah, and then last week they passed it all, and then Saquon only got 6 rushes. So yeah, Saquon goes 1-1. That was my first overall too. So, Grump, who do you got with the second pick?
I'm going Devonta Smith. Barkley was not my number 1 overall, actually.
Okay, well you're in last place, so.
Yep, sure am.
Why Devonta Smith over AJ Brown?
It was close. I assumed Danny was going to pick one or the other. So, why? I mean, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I guess because Cordell Flott matched up against AJ Brown is something that worked well for Cordell Flott at certain points.
He's AJ Brown's father. People forget. All right, so I have back-to-back picks. AJ Brown was number 2 on my big board. So I'm going to go AJ Brown. And funny story.
Oh, boy.
I'm going Dallas Goedert and pick number 4. Funny story. I people may not know this. I actually sucker punched Dallas Goedert in South Dakota. Grump, what's your second pick?
You can go Wan'Dale Robinson. Pretty much the only receiver that's reliable at this point.
Yeah, that's who I had 5th as well. I did have the Eagles 1 through 4, but Wan'Dale's like, all right, at least they're gonna try and target him, I guess.
Yeah, he may not have the biggest game, but there's no way he's not going to be targeted in this game.
Yeah. All right, Danny, that leaves you with back-to-back picks with 4 Eagles down and 1 Giant down.
Yeah, that's
Theo had a big game for you last week. And then who was you had Rashid Shaheed.
Cam put up, he wasn't crazy, but he gave me some points. It was Theo and Rashid.
Taysom Hill is what screwed me last week. I should have taken Taysom Hill.
That was the one. And I was throwing up my enjoyment hands, the prayer hands, because I get to take my Giant factor from last week again. Theo Johnson. I am rocking Theo Johnson again last week. I know it was 2 quick touchdowns, but I felt like they got chemistry going there, and especially after the disaster of a week Slayton had, and especially since he's not playing, obviously. That also affects not wanting Slayton there. But I like the chemistry him and Dart have going. And I know I kind of sounded crazy when I said, I don't know what the running back situation is going to be with the whole how to go split reps. I'm still rocking with Cam Scatterboo. I understand he had a fumble, but that man just runs the rock. I feel like when they get down in that goal to go situation, he'll still be the guy. He still catch some passes out of the backfield. Give me Cam Scatterboo again.
All right. So it's not in the exact order, but 7 picks down and 1 through 7 on the big board are done. Grump, your third pick.
This might be a little bit risky. Maybe it won't be. I'm going to go Tyrone Tracy with this one.
I don't think it's entirely risky.
It's not risky, but because, again, there's Jahan Dotson doesn't really get anything for the Eagles. I think taking any of the outside receivers for the Giants is risky. One, they're not going to want to use them, number one. Number two, they're not good. And number three is either Bo Collins or Jalen Hyatt might actually just get flat out benched for Lil Jordan Humphrey. Mm-hmm. So you might even be picking a guy here. So
he's also coming right off a shoulder injury. So, I mean, he could have one play and then be done for the rest of the day. So.
That's true, too. So I hate to do this, but I'm going to go Jahan Dotson for my third pick. And I'm going all Eagles. A.J. Dillon. If this ends up being a blowout game, A.J. Dillon is going to get a lot of carries. And it's a short week. Saquon dealing with an injury. I'm going to go big A.J. Dillon. I remember doing his draft preview. So A.J. Dillon off the board with my last 2 picks. Grump, your final pick.
Ladies and gentlemen, evidence as to why I'm in last place. I'm going to wind up with another Giant. I'm going Daniel Bellinger.
I don't hate it.
That's the correct pick here.
I have to pick it, but I look back at this roster and I was like, yeah, well, this is why I'm in last.
He's essentially a starter, and he's the only starter left. And again, we took the Eagles' backup running back. We took their third receiver when they don't use him. And then their backup tight end, Grant Calcaterra, is out. So, Danny, which of the Giants? It's so funny. We're going to get through a whole draft, and we're only taking one Giants outside receiver by default. And maybe you don't even take one. Like, who do you got with this final pick?
I know a little Jordan Humphrey. I just don't know how fully he's going to be integrated into the office. Collins, I don't care about him. He just exists. I'm making the very stupid play here. I'm gonna hype him up, be like, if there's any time for him to get a touchdown.
Games, dude.
It's this week. This is the week, baby. I'm gonna take Jalen Hyatt.
Okay.
My last pick. We're gonna get it done here, Jalen. This is the week. Don't let me down, baby.
He was the worst in 2023 because he was a rookie and he had like that big game. He won the first game. You're like, hey, give me Jalen Hyatt. And then he has the game against the Cardinals, 2 catches, and then he goes like 3 games, 0-0. And then you're like, all right, no more taking Jalen Hyatt. And then he had a big game, and like it was the exact cycle. And then now it's just
Doug Analytics said Lil Jordan Humphrey 2+ touchdowns isn't coming. If that is the case, I'm gonna curl up into a ball and just cry myself to sleep.
Did you see Doug Analytics had a halftime corgi show stat?
Oh,
the last time the Giants had a corgi race at halftime was against the Eagles, and Saquon Barkley ran for whatever and won by 25 points.
The Eagles. They just don't think. They just don't think in that building.
I would take Lil Jordan Humphrey over Jalen Hyatt. Who would you take out of the outside receivers, Grump, just to get this on record?
I think I would do Little Jordan Humphrey because I feel like if Hyatt is going to be a factor, it's probably going to be a pass interference in this game.
I agree.
That's not really like a joke. Like, I think that if he does get open, the ball might be like a little underthrown, and it's like a big play, and they're just gonna be like, well, just tackle him.
We're saying all this. Watch this could either be a Gunnar Olszewski or a Chris
Thomas Fedoni. Thomas Fedoni's gonna end up with like 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah. All right, let's do Giant factors. Danny, you got Giant factor number 1. this
I
week.
mean,
Who is your giant factor for week 6?
I'm just sick and
Eagles.
tired of watching the secondary. I want Javon Holland. I understand he had an interception ripped away from him last week by he thou shalt not be named, but I know it's Deontay Banks. I mean, I understand he's coming off a pretty wicked injury last year, but I mean, we signed him to that 3-year, $54 million deal. I kind of want to see Paulson Adebo make a play this week. I mean, the Eagles wide receiver room is in shambles. They're all complaining. If we're going to win this game, we need the secondary to be able to lock down here a little bit. Do I call my shot? Maybe a Paulson Adebo interception this week? Do we get it done? I'm going to call on Paulson. Yeah, I understand the quarterback's got to play a game with you, but I would like to see Paulson Adebo take a step for this Giants secondary because Deontay Banks is God knows what he's doing. Cordell Flott hasn't been bad. Drew Phillips, I don't know what week we're getting with Drew Phillips. Is it going to be a week we're all saying like, hey, good job for Drew Phillips this week? Or is it going to be a week where we're like, man, he cost us some with some penalties there. So Paulson Adebo, I'd like to see you take a step this week and be a Giant factor because we desperately need someone in this secondary to take a leap alongside Javon Holland.
Grump, who is your week 6 Giant factor?
And we previewed a little bit of what the Giants have to do on defense in order to get any sort of momentum, right? And it's going to be to take advantage of that interior offensive line. And this guy, for a big guy, is starting to take some baby steps. I think it's time to make a big leap and introduce the world to yourself, and that is Darius Alexander. Hashtag just a rookie. We haven't even had to use that like as much as we really thought we were going to have to. And not like he's been dominant at all. It's just little things here and there. The Giants as an entire group have not been very good. If they're going to win it all, it's going to have to be pressure on Jalen Hurts. Don't let these receivers get open deep. Don't let them win. And the longer that Jalen Hurts holds onto the ball, the more likely these receivers are getting open. Even Spencer Rattler was able to tear us up. Darius Alexander, start beating the guys inside. Let Dexter Lawrence eat up Cam Jurgens and another player. Win your one-on-ones. Use your length. Get to the backfield and get your arms around Jalen Hurts. Throw his ass to the ground. Darius Alexander, be a Giant.
So I feel like Giant factor for me this year has been just some combination of like the corner and safety room or linebacker. And it's like no offense, no defense, or no defensive line. But we know that this game is going to be hard. It's going to be tough. But offensively, the Giants are getting a piece back that they found valuable last year and was valuable for them last year. And if the Giants are going to have a successful game, they're going to need different looks. They're going to need to create some explosives. One way to do the run game is with speed. They are bringing back Tyrone Tracy this week. I think the Giants need to use Tyrone Tracy and not just fall in love with Cam Scatterbo and decide he's your workhorse back, but use both of them, right? Get that explosive factor back into the rushing game. So Tyrone Tracy, not just for this game, but like establish yourself a role on this team, okay? Don't let Cam Scatterbo become the 80% of the carry running back. Make it a 50-50 split. You were the starter to start the season. So Tyrone Tracy, come back healthy, come back strong, and be a Giant factor in week 6. It's time for spread picks. So we're all getting better. The listeners are still in last place at 17-23, but they went 6-2 last week. I got myself back to 500 with a 5-3 week. So I'm 20-20. And then Danny is in first place still after a 4-4 week at 26-14, which is honestly amazing. And then Grump is 21-19 after a 4-4 week. So not a lot of great games this week, and we don't get to do Thursday Night Football. So first game, the Cardinals at Colts, -6.5. It's the 2019 Quarterback Bowl. Kyler Murray at Daniel Jones. The listeners, represented by Matt Terlizzi, are going Cardinals +6.5. Like I said, I'm on the Colts bandwagon now. Like I'm actually just actively rooting for them to do well. So I'm going Danny Dimes, Colts -6.5. Danny, what do you got on this one?
Was that one of that was one of the worst losses I saw from the Cardinals last week to the Titans, especially.
What do you think about the coach getting fined $100,000 for the whole sideline thing?
I mean, me personally, you probably shouldn't be shoving your players. Like I get it. That can't be. I think it was out of character for Gannon. I think it was correct.
I don't know exactly. It's hard to tell from the video, but I don't. Did he actually like give him a nice shot in the chest, or did he like grab? Did he grab him by the shoulder? So
I saw a shot to the chest personally.
Yeah, again, that's if you can't do that. But as I've gotten older, like I'm like, oh, these are grown men and this stuff, and like even like with scouting and stuff. And the last year or so, I'm like, you know what? This is still football. Like this is still the game that it was in the 80s and 90s and stuff. And you know what? If a guy seems like he's not focused, like, you know what? Maybe take that into account, right? Like, like I ignored all the Caleb Williams like red flags. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe there were some red flags there, and there's some issues there, despite it being an amazing talent. But so I didn't hate it, but if he actually gave him a nice shot to the chest, you can't do that because if the roles are reversed, is different. But like, I don't want to totally lose that.
Yeah, no.
From the game either. Like he should be able to tear him a new one. So what?
I have
no
problem with Gannon doing that, and I'm not surprised that the NFL is in a position where they kind of have to find him. That's all.
Well, the Cardinals find him. It wasn't even the NFL.
Oh well, I mean, what's the difference really? I mean, the NFL is a collection of owners.
Sure, but it's different to get fined by your own people than a sanctioning body.
I hear what you're saying. I just feel like the NFL is it's in a position where it has to do things like that. But I have no problem with a coach doing that to I mean, it's one of those things. It's like if it were high school, it's a totally different story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like these are grown men. You know what I mean? This is football. So I agree. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm not at all surprised I don't think $100,000.
The best argument is like if a player did that to a coach, we would be going nuts on him.
Sure, but I mean that's like I don't know. That's like saying if you talk back to your boss, like you know what I mean? Like
yeah, but I'm not talking about the yelling. But you can't a boss like football is not the real world. I'm
right,
doing
I
this
get
whole
that
thing right now. But like if my boss ever did that to me, like I'm giving him what's the trailer part? The green I'm turning green into the green bastard. Right there. But at the same time, like I had coaches grab me and stuff like that, and I like kind of like that. Not in a weird way, but like a way of like I like that part of football. Like I think sometimes your coach does need to, tell you to shut the hell up or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
so anyways, Danny, who did you have?
I didn't make a pick. We had to start a whole conversation. Colts, they're just the better team.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of points, but still.
But so, like I said, I understand why it's happened, but I also like football is different than the regular world. Grump, who do you got?
Giddy the hell up. The Colts have only won one game by less than 7 points.
Who would have thought that us doing this is our Colts would 1 year be like, you know what, the NFL was going to happen? That guy's going to be fan of the year. He's going to be at the Super Bowl. And then Daniel Jones is going to go to the Colts. They're going to ball out, and the NFL is going to be making graphics of Daniel Jones singing that song. All right, we got Browns at Steelers -4.5. Grump, which one? Who do you got in this one?
I'm going to go Browns on this one. You had said last week when I picked them to beat the Vikings that it was going to come down to their defensive line that would win them the game, and they were tearing shit up in London. I think that Aaron Rodgers is not very nimble anymore, and that might happen here.
That's the exact reason I'm going Browns. I just don't trust Rodgers. Has been okay, not great this year, but that's where he can get in trouble as Myles Garrett going after him. So I'm going Browns. Listeners are going Steelers. Danny, who do you got?
I did not watch because it was 6:30 a.m. when that game went on out here, so I was not waking up for Browns Vikings. But the Vikings gave the Steelers a run for their money at the end of the game. Browns gave the Vikings a run for their money. I'm going to go Browns. It seems like vibes are kind of high right now with Dylan Gabriel there.
Yeah, even though there's rumors that like they want to make Bailey Zappi the backup over Shedeur, it's kind of I'm actually starting to feel a little bit bad for Shedeur.
Wait, just let him be QB2, please.
Yeah, like let him just. Why did you draft him if you're going to put Bailey Zappi as the backup over him? Chargers at Dolphins +4.5. Danny, who do you got in this one?
I mean, the Dolphins, as much as the Chargers are kind of like scuffling right now, the Dolphins are just in a world of Lord knows where, especially after the loss they had to the Panthers. So I'm gonna go the Chargers.
Yeah, the Dolphins' only win is against the Jets, who are terrible. And if the Dolphins just beat the Panthers, I would be like, oh, I'll take the Dolphins and the points here. But the Chargers got to get back on track, so I'm going Chargers as well. Listeners are too. Grump, is it a clean sweep?
It's a clean sweep. Miami is going to win a shock game that we don't pick them, but I don't think this is it.
Yeah, I think Jesse Minter will be ready for them. And the Chargers have struggled with mobile quarterbacks, and Tua's not that. Seahawks at Jags -1.5. Devin Lloyd is finally coming into his own. I was, never wrong just early. But I'm going to go Seahawks +1.5. I'm not all the way back in on the Jags. I like what they're doing down there, but I'm not all the way back in. So I'm going Seahawks. Grump, who do you got in this one?
I'm going Seahawks as well. They kind of just fell apart against Tampa Bay. Guys got injured in the second half. We're doing this on Wednesday, so really difficult to know who is and isn't going to play, but I'm going Seahawks.
Daniel?
I'm going to ride the high of the Jaguars after coming off that Chiefs win with the slip 6. I'm gonna go Trevor Lawrence and the boys.
You guys saw Chris Jones just kind of like having a picnic.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I would be so mad if I was a Chiefs. And here's just something is I noticed because I watched the film, bro, for the Chiefs preview. He does take plays off
all the time. But that play is the play you're going to take off.
Yeah, that was insane. That wasn't even low effort. He literally just quit on the play. That is unforgivable. Like, that's
it's like, and people like trying to defend it. Just like, well, he's clearly gassed. So it's like gassed is not even like if that's how gassed you are, then just get the hell off the field.
Yeah, he just
seriously
he quit on the team. He just quit. Listeners are going Jags too. Hey, Jags Monday Night Football. It's always memorable. 49ers at Bucks -3. Danny, what do you got in this one?
I understand the Bucks are probably the better team than the Niners. However, the Buccaneers are just finding themselves in close games, like extremely close games, and that's why I'm gonna go with the Niners. As there's just a bunch of hounded dogs out there.
Yeah, what's going on out there?
I don't know. They might be fighting, but I'm going 49ers because I think this will be another one of those close games. Do you mind? I'm filming a podcast over here. Christ.
Well, did you see there was like some streamer who got like there's like there's a conspiracy that like he like has a shock collar on his dog who's in the background and he like
Hassan Piker.
Yeah, so I didn't know the guy's name. Maybe we like one up and parried it and Danny like just I won't say anything. I got Bucks -3. Grump, who do you got?
I'm going Bucks too. Baker Mayfield's on fire right now.
Listeners are going Bucks. All right, we got Lions at Chiefs -2.5. Everybody's going to take the Lions in this one, right? This is like, how are the Lions not favored against the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs are 2-3. But I feel like this is one of those games, I'm overthinking it, where like everybody's going to bet the Lions in the points, like, with plus points. And that's why the Chiefs are just going to pull this one out and win by like a field goal. So I'm going to go Chiefs -2.5. Grump.
I'm going to go with everybody and pick the Lions.
The listeners are too. Danny, who are you going?
I'm also going with everyone. I'm picking the Lions.
I
will remember this if the Chiefs win. I'm going to text you.
Oh, yeah. Because this was like what a stupid spread. And I was like, that's what they want you to think.
I literally, when I looked at it, I was like, man, this spread is out of their mind.
Yeah, every single person who looked at that like, what? And then the Chiefs are going to win by 3. Bills at Falcons +4.5. Guys, this is a quarterback that the Giants could have drafted in Michael Penix. The Giants aren't playing, and it's prime time. This is Take City, so we need I need Michael Penix to have a bad game for my own sake. I'm going to go Bills -4.5. The listeners agree. Grump, do you agree?
I'm going Bills. Danny,
does Michael Penix play good or bad?
Oh, I don't think he plays well.
Yeah. See, because like he played good the game after that really bad game, but the Giants were playing and it wasn't prime time. Doesn't count. Danny, who do you got?
First off, stop scheduling back-to-back Monday Night Football games.
Yeah, it's cool to do once. Everyone complains, but doing it all the time actually sucks.
Look at this slate now we got on Sunday. Horrible. With that said, the Bills will bounce back this week. I wanted to go with the Falcons and a little bit of an upset, but the Bills are out for revenge this week, especially how they lost it against the Pats.
Bears at Commanders -4.5. Rematch of the Hail Mary game last year. Listeners are going Bears. Danny, who do you got?
I'm just a hater. I'm not in on the Commanders yet. I'm gonna go with the Bears to one. I think the Bears can win outright, but I think they'll probably cover still.
This is pick number 2 in the draft from last year. Grump, who do you got?
Oh, it is.
I am going Commanders on this one. I don't really have a great reason for it, but I am.
I'm going to go Bears too. I think they at least cover Ben Johnson.
It's weird.
I think the Bears, this game last year lives in their head a little bit. Caleb Williams might be a little more dialed in, wants to prove he's the better quarterback, even though he's not. So I'm going to go Bears plus 4.5. Danny, it's time for score predictions on Philadelphia Eagles at New York Giants, Thursday Night Football. What is your score prediction?
I hate the city of Philadelphia. I hate the Eagles. I hope the Phillies get swept tonight. I hate the people that live in that city. With that said, also Saquon, stop making content about us. Move on. You want a Super Bowl with the Eagles. Leave our name out your mouth. Eagles will win. Eagles are going to win. I think it could get ugly, boys. I think we're in for it ugly. I think we're in for ugliness. I think the Eagles will get 38 on us. Giants will score. I'm going to give them 13.
Grump, what is your score prediction for Thursday Night Football, Eagles at Giants?
Thursday Night Football is usually pretty weird. So this is one of those ones where it's like nothing makes any sense for the Giants to be able to win this game, but then they do it. You know what I mean? By the same token, these players, this roster is inferior, and they have recently just not been put in a position to succeed. I don't think that this defense is that bad, but they're just not being coached to an advantage. The offense, I'm starting to hear this horseshit whispers that the offense is really complicated for the players. Sounds like the excuse train is rolling out. You've got a rookie quarterback back there. This is a really, really disciplined Eagles defense. It's Thursday Night Football. It's a short week. And then on top of it, you've got some roster mismanagement where there's just no outside wide receivers. Going Eagles 77, Giants nothing.
I try to wait on this every year. I do. Like I don't like pulling it early. The Saints loss killed me. Where it's just like, no, please no. Like you can't lose this game. You can't do that. Like that Saints game was supposed to buy me time on this. But it's got all the makings of one of those games. You lose to the Saints. You play Saquon Barkley, the Eagles on Thursday Night Football. You got the stupid documentary coming out. It's just bad vibes in Giants land. And that's why I'm going Giants 2, Eagles 0. We'll see you guys Friday morning for a recap. We'll see you then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.